to the STLK in the UTA Jazz Podcast. I'm Conjo. This is Paul. We're back at you Friday. We missed you Wednesday, but here we are, Friday.
I'm excited.
Another Friday, another sing. We're back. Another week of Jazz basketball, and unfortunately, another week of losses.
We haven't won yet this week.
No, we start the week off on Monday. Mm-hmm. You know, we play the Chicago Bulls. We take a pretty brutal loss.
Yeah.
And then on Wednesday, we play the Indiana Pacers. And for most of the game, I thought we had it.
It wasn't a brutal loss. It was a loss. The Jazz started a new lineup, which I was really excited about. And I know a lot of people were really excited about that.
New lineup was Keontae George, which we were pumped about.
Very excited.
Very excited
Very
about.
excited.
On his birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, 20th birthday.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Young guy.
And then another one that surprised me was Ochai. Mm-hmm. I didn't expect him to be in that lineup.
He hasn't been getting a lot of minutes.
Yeah,
For those who don't know, he hasn't played like at all this year.
Yeah, that was awesome. And then obviously Walker Kessler being hurt, we still had, Markkanen, John Collins, and Jordan Clarkson.
Yep.
So I went into it, with pretty high spirits thinking, this should be a pretty good lineup.
So the Jazz start out, I believe, 7-0. Excuse me, they were losing to the Pacers 7-0.
Yeah, and I texted you and said, oh, man.
Yeah, you said a little bit more than that. But we come out and score 12 straight. Right after the timeout, which forces then Indiana to take a timeout. So I said, Conjo, we're going to blow them out.
12 straight. I was pumped.
Yeah, and we were on pace to hold them below 100. Didn't do that.
No, both scored 130.
Yeah, but no, the Pacers game was really, really fun because we saw a new lineup. It was a young lineup. It was a more athletic, smaller lineup, if you will. I was really excited about it.
And we saw a Jordan Clarkson that we haven't seen yet.
Yes.
I mean, he was electric.
Really, he played in the flow the entire game.
I mean, he was unbelievable.
Really good.
I really loved the way he came in and just, shot the ball and attacked. So
Yep.
I really like that aspect of the game. But there's one word that comes to mind, seeing this new lineup. And everyone else was saying this on X now, you could say, but is spacing.
Yeah.
With Keontae in there, the spacing completely opened up, and that's what allowed Jordan Clarkson to be able to play like that, and gave people different shots, and everybody was able to kind of play their own game. And I think that went into it a lot. I think the spacing is what helped that.
Yeah, there's a few parts of spacing that kind of go unnoticed. Obviously, is the guy that you're spacing towards, is he a good shooter? Keontae's a good shooter, and maybe his percentage doesn't reflect that yet this year, but he's a good shooter. But with that, what happens is if Keontae's defender is inside of the key and not guarding him, when they kick it out to him, he's now a threat to beat them off the dribble because that space they have to close is really, really wide. With THT, he's not beating a lot of people off the dribble just in a straight line. Mm-hmm. So not only was Keontae shooting a big help, but just the threat that Keontae can explode to the rim, I think that helps a ton too.
Well, and THT and Sexton, every time they have the ball, they think they have a wide open lane.
They really do.
And they attack the rim as if there's a wide open lane.
Yeah.
So I think that's what brought everybody outwards. Is Keontae doesn't really do that as much. He's smart when he attacks the rim. But going back to Keontae's shooting, people don't understand how deep that 3-pointer is.
Really deep.
Like compared to college, it is deep.
At the furthest point, I believe it's 2 extra feet.
No, it's insane. I remember a couple years ago, I went and reffed a bantam game, whatever, at the Jazz Arena.
Yeah.
And I was standing there and I went to shoot a 3 and I was blown away at how deep it was. Because you can see it and it doesn't look deep. Oh, these guys are big, whatever.
Yeah.
When you're out there, it is so deep.
It's so deep. And especially if you have the high school line that's actually on the court plus the NBA, you're these are worlds apart.
I mean, and then then you start realizing, the high school line's attached to the top of the key. It's literally attached.
Yeah. And you have bad shooters in the NBA that just hit that all the time.
That feels
easy.
like a mid-range.
Yeah, it is a mid-range to them.
Yes. And so I'm like, this is pretty crazy. And then you see the NBA line and it's just way out there.
Yeah.
Insane.
It's really, it blows me away every time I see it. That's for sure.
So let's jump into this Pacers game a little bit more. I mean, we see, first quarter, Miles Turner and Clarkson go at it. And then everybody knows I love Tyrese Halliburton.
Yep.
And he just went stupid.
He's so good.
I mean, he scored in the third quarter 14 points alone and had 10 assists by then.
Yeah. A quick double-double.
So what do you even do? Because he's not that player that's explosive. He's not what do you do defensively for
Yeah,
like
because it's not like you're trying to shut down Giannis where it's like, well, if we just pack the key, like that doesn't work on really good point guards.
No.
And I think point guards that are good are the hardest people to guard because they can contribute to the game in so many different ways. And that's what we've seen from Halliburton for the last few years.
He's special.
It's like, what do you do to contain him? Like force him to pass the ball? Well, great. He's going to have 18 assists if you do that.
It's silly the way he can operate the game.
It's really impressive. I pray every night before I go to bed that he somehow falls into the Jazz lap. Like maybe the Pacers waive him and the Jazz get him on a minimum.
A wave would be awesome.
Wouldn't it be great?
It would be
Not
great.
give up anything.
Hey, but Keontae's kind of like, could be like, I mean, let's talk about Keontae again.
8 assists, 7 assists?
He had 7 assists.
7 assists.
And didn't have a turnover at that point. He ended up with a turnover.
Yeah.
But he hadn't had a turnover by the time he had gotten his 7th assist.
It's really impressive.
That's special.
We haven't seen that from a Jazz guard yet this year.
That's crazy.
Really good. Jordan Clarkson had 6 turnovers.
Yes.
Which kind of is misleading. 2 of them were in garbage time where it didn't really matter. So I don't hate it.
Same with Keontae's. His was just a garbage time one.
Where it's like,
so like,
do you blame him? Like,
0 turnovers, 7 assists in your first NBA start.
That's like John Stockton-esque.
I mean, that's promising.
Yeah.
You know, thinking of that stat, you know, we're going to take the Jazz Mountain Mike. I don't know if you saw the stat. So Mountain Mike in the first like 30 seconds of the season had a turnover.
Oh, this season.
Yes.
Yes.
And since then has not had a single turnover.
To like this moment, he doesn't have a turnover.
He does not have a turnover since 60 seconds into the first game of the season.
Wow. Okay, so this brings me to my next.
His turnover ratio is 23. Assist to turnover ratio is 23-1.
He's on pace to break the record for sure, right?
That's insane.
Something that frustrates me about the Jazz turnovers, and you might feel different. I feel like the turnovers we have, like if the pass had gone through, it's not leading to a basket. It's like on silly entry passes or just like we're swinging the rock and it turns over. And that's where it's like, okay, that's actually a little more promising.
Yes.
Because it's not players like being like over optimistic about their passing abilities. I think it's just coming down to like execution and focus, which I feel like is fixable. So if other people have noticed like, hey, why don't we turn the ball over when we're trying to score rather than just like in the half court set, I think it's very fixable. So I think these turnovers, and I really like looked at it hard, I don't think it's as big of a red flag as we think it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everyone calls me, they're like, Conjo. They're like, what's the Jazz issue? Why aren't they winning games? Why are they 2-7?
Yeah.
And I say, honestly, it's everything. Yeah. I can't tell you it's defense. I can't tell you it's offense. It might seem like offense is really good, but bad defense leads to bad offense, and bad offense leads to bad defense because there's transitioning involved as well. Yeah. I mean, it's very apparent that transition is horrible.
And half court.
Horrible.
With Walker Kessler out, it's going to be even harder.
Yes. So I think, again, you give points right off the bat, that's going to translate to bad offense. Yeah. You're having to come back. You're starting at the very end instead of getting transition buckets. So it really is tough to try and get good buckets when the other team is scoring all the time. So honestly, that's enough.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much we can touch on, you know, as far as that, you know.
It's a fun game.
It's a fun game.
Yeah. Did
it make me smile? At times.
The starting lineup made me smile.
At times. Did I love it? No. But that is 91 straight games giving up 100. Is that right?
Yeah.
The counter, you know, there's 2 counters that keep going. There's that one and there's the triple double. The Carlos Boozer in 2008.
I think Keontae will break it this year. Mark it down. I think it'll happen his rookie year. A rookie triple double from Keontae George. I think he breaks it. Breaks the streak.
As a rookie. That'd be pretty sweet.
He had a game where he had, 6 assists, 7 rebounds?
Yeah.
Like, it's going to happen.
I'm cool with that. So tonight, the Utah Jazz play the Memphis Grizzlies again. And this is the first in-season tournament game for the Jazz.
Yeah.
It is in Memphis, so we don't get to see the purple court yet. That will be on Tuesday versus the Portland Trailblazers. But I'm excited. First in-season tournament game. For those who don't know, the in-season tournament is a new addition to the NBA this year, where you have a pool of about 5 teams and you play them once, and it basically gives you seeding for a tournament that will happen, and the winner of the tournament gets in-season trophy
and some extra cash.
Like, it's really has nothing to do with playoffs or anything. It's just a little fun thing in the middle. So
for those who played in AAU tournaments growing up, or the Big Mountain Jam, same format. You have your pool play, you play everyone once, The people with the best record go to the single elimination, and you go from there.
So it should be fun. Yeah. The Grizzlies are 1-7, and at the time when we played them, they were 0-4.
Correct.
And I remember being like, "Oh, this is going to be a blowout," which it was.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, okay, well they're 1-7, we're 2-7. Now I'm like, oh, we're kind of in the same boat.
So the Grizzlies already played an in-season tournament game against the Portland Trailblazers, and lost that game. They don't have a ton of incentive to even come out and try tonight if their goal is to tank. With that, they are missing 7 rotation players tonight. Derrick Rose, Tillman, and
Brandon Clark,
who's still recovering.
Obviously,
Jaw's on a league suspension. There's a handful of players that aren't playing. I think the Jazz come out, and I think it's going to look very similar to what it did last week against the Grizzlies, where we just run away.
Well, didn't Jordan Clarkson say something about this game?
He did. So Tony Jones asked him, what's your mindset going into this? Do you treat this anything different? And he answered very confidently, yes, we're treating it like a playoff game.
Like a playoff game.
And it gave me chills when I read it.
I mean, been a minute since we felt that.
Yeah, it's been a couple of years.
So, I mean, I'm okay with that. So, I mean, there's really not a whole lot we can touch on for this game. I think it'll be a blowout. I think it's kind of the same key. You know, Conjo's key is just getting Larry shots and getting Jordan Clarkson to play good.
Yeah. And that's exactly it. The Pacers, I mean, Larry shot the ball well against the Pacers and Jordan Clarkson played well. But I think it's going to come down to our defense to not allow 136 points. That's a lot of points for 4 quarters.
So, Paul, again, we can talk about the Jazz, but it's Friday.
Yeah.
I think it's we can make it a thing where it's just like, let's talk NBA.
Sure.
I mean, it's Friday. So I've got a question, and I'd like to kind of go back and forth on this. Who is first team All-NBA right now? Not who will be. Up to date.
Like the season's over tonight. Yeah, the season's over tonight.
Not necessarily like, what is yours, right? Let's talk.
Joel Embiid's at the center. Oh, I'm so sorry. You have Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, I was going to
say. In my head, it's the 3 bigs, 2 smalls, but no, you have to.
Yeah, let's not go there.
Okay, Nikola Jokic is the center.
Has to be.
Sorry, I apologize. I always forget. Power forward is Giannis. What he did last night.
He classifies, yes. I mean, he takes his ejection and turns it into a 50 bomb. I had actually taken the under on his points, and it was just a bad day to do that.
Conjo's picks.
It was a bad day to do that.
Yeah, no kidding.
So Giannis, I mean, yes.
Okay, Giannis, Nikola. At the guard, Anthony Edwards. Can we put Anthony Edwards at the 2 spot?
Yes.
Okay.
He is the fact that we put Powell over him a couple episodes ago. I think I have to eat my words.
Me too. So those who follow me on X, if you don't find me, Paul Evans, I tweeted my NBA projection over unders, and I said if the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to be good, it's because Anthony Edwards is a first team All NBA player. So far, they're on pace to have the best record in the league. Anthony Edwards is a superstar.
100%. So this is where it gets tricky: is the point guard position. There are 2. I mean, okay, there's 3.
Okay.
So let's talk about this. There is Luka Doncic, which is obviously most people are going to talk about. There's obviously Steph Curry. But the one that I want to throw in is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Okay. He was first team last year, right?
No. I think Luka was.
Okay. I know he was close.
Yeah, Shai is unbelievable. Okay. I had an argument the other day with Shai or Ant.
Really?
Like, who do you take to start a franchise?
I'm taking Ant.
You take Ant?
Yeah, I just think the bigger body, I don't know. They're actually both so big. Shai's is so long. That's where it's hard.
And the fact that he can put the ball in the hoop like he does, Ant can give you a lot of points, but he's also not as consistent. Shai gives you 30 points every single night.
30, and then between assists and rebounds combined, he'll get you at least 12 or 13 every game. Like,
it's every single game.
That's a hard question. At the 1, I'm taking Steph Curry, though. If I'm starting a basketball team and I already have Ant, Jokic, and Giannis, I'm taking Steph Curry. I need the shooting.
Okay.
First team All NBA. I'm making my best team I can. I'm taking Steph.
Curry actually broke the record he has had 4 threes every single game this season.
Really?
And if Lowry would have made one more 3 versus the Pacers, he would have also been in that conversation.
No way.
Lowry started the first 8 games of the season making 4 threes a game, and he fell short by 1 to the Pacers.
Wow.
Otherwise, he would have been in the headlines too. Would his name have been there? Probably not. They see Steph Curry and they eat it up. They're going to just talk about Steph.
Yeah.
But that's pretty crazy that Laurie is right there in shooting. So I was looking at the 3-point field goals made per game, and it goes Luka, and it goes Steph, and then it goes Lowry, and then Donovan Mitchell.
That's incredible.
The fact that he's in that conversation is kind of insane.
No, that's a really good conversation.
So I think that's super. I mean, I thought that was pretty interesting.
Who's in your 3 spot on this first team?
See, that's where it gets tough. It's like the 3 is such, like, people are probably going to like roll with Tatum.
Yeah, it has to be Tatum.
But like, I'm not a big Tatum guy.
I'm a huge Tatum guy.
Like, I'm not that much of a Tatum guy.
I made a lot of money betting his overs last year. I'm a big Tatum guy.
Like, I don't love Tatum for some reason. And I don't know what it is about his game. Like, I haven't quite figured it out yet. But there's just something about it where I'm just not a big fan.
I think something that's hard to watch with Tatum is he's 6'9", I believe, with a super long frame, and he shoots 10 threes a game. It's almost like Laurie, where I'm like, yeah, you had an open 3 or you had a somewhat open 3, but I've seen you get to the bucket time and time again with little to no resistance. Like, why don't you go to the bucket more, especially Tatum? Because I feel like he's a better ball handler than Laurie. But I think that's one of the frustrations. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I think that's where a lot of people get frustrated, where it's like, dude, I've seen you just like tear apart defenses. Why are we settling for step back 3s with 18 on the shot clock?
Yep.
So, but I do think he has to be number 3 on this first team.
I mean, I'm trying to think of even people. Like, it's crazy how, like, back in the day, like, the 3 position was like the most dominant position.
Yeah.
I mean, because we lived in a world where it was dominant LeBron, it was dominant KD. And then we had Kobe at the 2, Dirk at the 4, and D Wade at the 2. Like, it's all kind of in that same conversation. And so now we're in this spot where it's honestly the point guard position is the most dominant, and the center. It's kind of like a totally different league.
Right.
Like, you have your centers, like, I mean, let's classify Giannis as a center here, even though he's a power forward because of Brook Lopez, but like Embiid, Jokic, Giannis, and then you go Steph, Luka, Shai. Like, the point guard and the center positions are strong now.
Yeah, they're stronger than they have been for a long time.
And that it's like kind of like the 2 and the 3 and the 4 are kind of the ones that are like
just kind of floating. You're like, I'm not sure who the best is.
So it's opposite. Players. It's crazy. It's pretty awesome to see. But I mean, I'd love to hear everybody's thoughts about all NBA there. But I mean, I thought we'd talk a little bit about the NBA there.
That was fun. We got a couple minutes before we jump into Conjo's card. I have a question I wanted to ask you on Wednesday. Obviously, we couldn't make it work. So Donovan Mitchell got traded before Rudy Gobert did last year. Is that right? So we got Laurie Markkanen.
No.
So Rudy was first.
Rudy was first.
Correct. That's how I meant to say it. I apologize. So we had the Walker, Kessler, all of them with Donovan Mitchell on the roster technically.
Yes.
Do the Jazz. So let's say the Jazz did make the Donovan Mitchell trade first, where we have Laurie Markkanen, Ochai Agbaji, and a handful of picks. Do the Jazz, knowing what they know now, would they still do the Rudy Gobert trade? For those who don't know, Rudy Gobert is the favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year right now. Last year,
unbelievable.
He's been incredible. Best defensive rating on-off metrics in the league. He's been Rudy. Do the Jazz still make that trade? Had they known Rudy Gobert still would have been who he is?
I mean, if you look at what we got for Rudy, it's interesting because we ended up trading majority of what we got anyways.
For a protected first-round pick from the Lakers.
Yeah, so it's kind of like we gave away, obviously, Conley.
Vanderbilt, Beasley.
We gave up a lot of guys. We got Beverly, and we swapped him for THT. So, like, kind of the way we got it is it's organized a lot differently than the Cavs trade. Because the Cavs trade, we legit got Sexton, Ochai, and Lowry.
Sexton, I apologize. I forgot about him.
So it's just like those were 3 like main guys. With the Timberwolves trade, we swapped everybody for THT and did this and that.
A lot of picks.
Yeah, and he got a lot of later picks.
But one of the reasons I ask that is these Timberwolves picks are looking less and less valuable every day.
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards is a star. Jaden McDaniels, first team All-NBA defense. Like,
there was an argument on Twitter that this Timberwolves roster is better than the roster that the Jazz took first place with.
Well, if you just, and I saw a few tweets about it, you just go line for line. Like, yeah, they match up better than the Jazz did.
So and they got first place.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting to see, the Timberwolves ended up benefiting pretty significantly. Mm-hmm. But as far as picks goes in the next couple of years, they're kind of stuck.
That they are stuck. But again, like I said it like a week ago, I think, where it was in a different light, but I was like, oh, they don't have any ways to like make trades or anything. They don't need them. They don't need the trades.
But like that's the thing is the West is the West.
If I'm the Jazz, I wouldn't have done the trade. If you take me back in time right now, I'm calling Danny Ainge from my phone, even though he wouldn't answer. And I'm saying, hey, Danny, you're not going to believe this. Rudy's still first team All NBA defense. And the Wolves are going to be good for the next 5 years. Like that's my opinion on it. And you might have something different. But they're good, man. Giving them Mike Conley and Rudy Gobert, who were point guard and center on a 55-60 win team, might have been a mistake. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I feel like it's tough to say too.
Yeah, it is, because it could go wrong.
Situations are different. I mean, he's playing with Cat. It opens up a lot of room for him. So it's really hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
It is hard. It's hard to definitively say. But man, I wish we had Rudy Gobert right now.
See, but that's the thing is like, I wish we had Donovan.
Okay. How much time do we have? Because I have one more question. Let's do it real fast. You can bring back one Utah Jazz guy from the last 15 years to put on this team right now. Who are you putting on?
I mean, we've got the big guys, and I have to go Donovan.
Really?
Last 15 years, you said?
Sure.
So we're dating back to
Darren Williams.
2000. Wow. Yeah. So 2008. Mm-hmm. So yes, we do have some Darren Williams there. The team that we have right now needs a definite scorer.
Yeah, like a bucket getter.
Yes, like a definite scorer. And that's not saying like we definitely need a scorer. That's saying a definite scorer. Mm-hmm. And Donovan plays hard on defense when he wants to. Like that's the thing, is like he can do that. So I think with this young team and how much size and height we have, we need a guy that's just going to go out and get a bucket.
Yeah.
Like as much as we need a facilitator like D Will would be awesome.
He would be fun.
Like just because he can facilitate and score. I watched like the KD's debut the other day or yesterday on Twitter versus the Jazz, and kind of watched. It was D Will had a double. AK-47 had a double.
Yeah.
Boozer had 27 and 15.
Jeez.
And so I'm watching this and I'm like, and D Will's like posting up. Mm-hmm. Like we're giving him the ball in the paint, and he's posting up. And he's doing like his game was so special and different than a lot of the point guards you see. He was kind of like a Luka, honestly. Mm-hmm. Like can give him the ball in the paint. He can create his own shot. Like Luka's honestly a decent comparison that I haven't really thought of before. Yeah, but it's crazy how much just Donovan can score the hoop. Like he is crazy. Even this year, he's averaging like 32.
He's so good, dude.
So like, I mean, again, Hayward would be solid.
There's been discussions. The Jazz fans on X have been saying like, do we get Hayward? He's an expiring contract. No, don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, we love Hayward. Yeah, he was my favorite player for so long, but it's just, we're past that. Like he's just like, he's a veteran.
He's not helping us at this point.
Yeah, he's a veteran. Who do you pick?
Darren Williams. I think the facilitating with the scoring, I agree we need a definite scorer, but at the same time, I'm like his scoring plus his facilitating would go a really long way.
So you're valuing facilitating more than scoring for this team that we have now.
Like I said earlier, the turnovers we have are such simple turnovers, and like having prime D Will mentor Keontae George, that'd be special. Dude,
and if we're going to throw D Will out there, I mean, 2 point guards, 3 point guards come to mind. Earl Watson.
Sure.
Jamal Tinsley.
I love Jamal.
John Lucas III.
John Lucas III. Devin Harris.
I mean, these were our point guards for a couple of years.
Yeah, we were going through it, dude.
So, I mean, that's insane. Mm-hmm. We go from D Will to literally Jamal Tinsley in the starting lineup.
Earl Watson. I just, And
then we go from AK-47, Mehmet Okur to Kyrilo Fasenko, Francisco Elson. Mm-mm. Yeah. Anyways,
Ronnie Brewer, who I think is a good player.
He was. Yeah.
He's not AK-47.
He was in that video I just watched too.
Yeah.
But I think D Will, honestly, I think this is a fun conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, facilitating is definitely what the Jazz need.
Yeah.
And you kind of convinced me a little bit.
I like the D Will pick. Are you ready for Conjo's picks?
Conjo's card.
I'm sorry. I get it mixed up every time. I just get so excited about it.
Conjo's card.
Let's do it. Lauri Markkanen against the Memphis Grizzlies tonight in a game where we hope he doesn't play that many minutes. 30.
See, this is where I get lost. Is because like this could be a blowout and I just get completely destroyed.
You really could.
Like I could literally just get this completely destroyed.
Yeah. But you also might it might be a close game and you just hammer the overs. Or you could just take the unders, assuming it's going to be a blowout.
All right.
Lauri Markkanen, 10.5 rebounds and assists, over, under.
Under.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah, I kind of feel good about that.
8 rebounds, 2 assists. That's still under.
That's
a lot.
Yes, absolutely under.
John Collins, 23.5 points, rebounds, and assists combined.
Dude, I've said the over so many times on this, and I've failed like every single time.
Yeah.
But like I still feel the over. I'll go over again.
I knew you were going to say over. I actually had it clicked already.
I'll go over again.
Okay. Jordan Clarkson, 18.5 points.
Over.
Okay. I like that.
Over.
Here's another Jordan Clarkson one. Over or under 5 assists.
Granted, Keontae starting. Let's go under.
Okay. I like that.
If he's going to get the over on points, he's going to probably get under on his assists.
I agree.
So I'm either going to go 2 for 2 on that section on JC, or I'm going to go 0 for 2.
I agree with
really,
you.
I don't think I'm going to get 1 for 2 there.
Last one. John Collins, over or under 0.5 blocks.
If you said steals, I would have taken over. The block is tough, just 1, because you just don't know when that could come.
No, it's so much anxiety riding on that.
Like just 1. Oh, I'm going to take the under.
Sure. I like that. I like the under.
The Jazz haven't got very many blocks this year.
No, especially with Kessler out.
Like and even Kessler wasn't getting very many blocks. So like I think we can work on that, but again, that could be a total crapshoot with the score of this game.
It
could be close.
Anywhere.
I don't know. We're going to find out. Predictions for the game.
Jazz win 131-111.
Okay.
Is that crazy?
No.
It's a lot of points.
I'll go 125 to 110.
Okay. Right in the same range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a fun one.
This has been great.
So we'll catch you back on Monday. Don't forget to fill out the giveaway. It ends on tomorrow night.
Exciting. Jazz tickets, lower bowl to the Blazers game on Tuesday. In-season tournament. Yes, first in-season tournament game. Wow. So jump on that as soon as you can. It's going to be super fun. We've got some guest announcements for next week as well. So let's go ahead and, that's been the STLK in the UTA Jazz podcast. Conjo and Paul, we'll catch you on Monday. Perfect.